The negative effects of social media can be mitigated by blank.
I want to steal from Utah Governor Spencer Cox, who I really think has met the moment. Those of us who are very into like occupational licensing reform and YIMBYism, we've always liked Spencer Cox, and now the country can see why he's such a great governor. Go outside and touch grass. I mean, honestly, social media, I'm 29 years old, so I'm 7 years older than the shooter was. But like, there is 100 years of difference versus the social media I experienced as a young person versus what he has had. Not only did COVID and the lockdowns have us all, inside, doom scrolling way too online, social media itself, like when Instagram was first launched and I was in high school, you followed your friends. And maybe you followed, fashion brands or meme pages. But like the influencer and having it constantly, you're catering to an audience of people you don't actually know, that didn't really exist. And now young people have grown up in an environment, these Zoomers especially, where you're connecting with people you've never met in real life in a way that I don't think that was the incentive structure. So adults under the age of 30, in 2005, they reported spending at least 12 hours hanging out with friends in real life. That number in 2024 is down to 5 hours a week. When you're under 30, that's the time you're supposed to be, at university and then in your first years at work with your friends. 5 hours a week when you're young, especially if you're not married and if you don't have kids, which a lot of folks under 30 are not, that is the time you should be seeing more friends. So that would be my advice. But Tim, I'm curious because you have 11 billion children who all seem incredibly polite, and they are the opposite of iPad children, and they seem very well adjusted. So I want to hear from your experience as both, a columnist, but also a parent.
So the main mitigating thing that a parent should do is do not give your children social media. Do not give them smartphones and do not give them social media. Now, a smartphone, it allows me to keep track of them. Guess what? Them getting lost or wandering off in the neighborhood is 100 times better than them falling down a black hole of staring in the black mirror that is social media and the smartphone. So that is the number one thing. Just don't do it. When they turn 18, if they're willing to pay for it, maybe you guide them into it.
Yeah.
But just keep them off of it. Buy them a dumb phone. But to go deeper on your touch grass thing, the negative effects of social media can be mitigated by going to church. That is the most important way to get out. And I mean that not just from the messages and the truth of Christianity or Judaism or any religion. Those are all very helpful. But church is actually a place where we rub elbows with people who, while they share our faith, might in other ways be different from us. Yes. I know churches are too homogenous and increasingly so, and that's unfortunate. But I'm a Catholic, and in my various parishes, I have been, elbow to elbow with like an SEIU organizer who is in charge of everybody who volunteered to clean up after the picnic. So I'm taking orders from this SEIU organizer, and then the next week, the Eritrean immigrant cab driver is the one organizing the rest of us to set up for the Christmas concert.
Yeah.
And so the going to church really has a moderating effect, and this will shock some liberals out there who think that church has this radicalizing effect. There are religion can have a radicalizing effect, but multiple studies have shown if you just look at Trump voters that are more likely to have warm feelings towards immigrants, towards foreigners, towards gay people. Those are going to be the Trump voters who go to church more.
Yeah.
And then certainly the nihilism, and that's what underlies a lot of this. We talk about, is it leftism? Is it this? The philosophy of some of these shooters, including it looks like this one, is just like, lol, nothing is real.
Yeah, it's a language that I was in like the annals of 4chan when like 4chan was first invented. I don't know what half of the stuff is. The hey fascist catch, like what?
And then you think about that belief that nothing is real. It comes from, I think, to some extent, children not having any real responsibilities in the world.
Agreed.
And then coming to see the very online men just become so negative on everything that they just mock everything.
Yeah.
But in this case, a sort of a telling counterpoint was as you referred to earlier, the horrible decision that the father had to make when he realized, I think my son is the killer. And this was after the governor said, we are going to seek the death penalty. So an unthinkable situation that he was in, but a moral compass
Yes.
of what was right and wrong. And so sometimes we look at this left versus right, where there's conflicting views of what is right and wrong. But one of the things underlying all of this, is a nihilism where they think nothing is right and wrong, and nothing is even real.
And like, just to actually get a little Christian for a second, because I basically endorse 100% of what you just said. The Bible actually, like, a recurring motif is a father that refuses to discipline their son because they think that that's love. But that's not the biblical definition of love, right? It's why tough love exists. It's like David's entire reign is almost overthrown because he refuses to, hold his son accountable because his son is his heir after the son rapes his sister. And I think, like, the gentle attachment, whatever cushy parenting you want to call it, the chickens kind of have come home to roost. Because as you said, kids not having enough responsibilities, kids not being told the word no. And just to put this in a lens that I think progressives will actually really appreciate, one of the things you do when, like, you go to cognitive behavioral therapy, which, like, I've written and talked about doing, is you have to remind yourself the world doesn't revolve around you. So if you fixate on something because you're anxious, oh, what if, someone responding with a period instead of an exclamation point means they don't like me. One of the ways you unlearn that instinct for anxiety is to be like, this person wasn't thinking that much about you because you're not that important. Church is good because it's the opposite of social media where you think you're the main character. Church, you're not the main character. Your husband isn't the main character. Your kids aren't the main character. Jesus is, as it should be.
And in this world, lay down your life for others. And so just to think of other people first, that's really well put. That's one of the main advantages. And weirdly, social media, staring at strangers all day, doing stuff, that doesn't put you out in the world of all these strangers. It puts you more in your own head. And in your own head is not a good place. It's that's the anteroom to hell.
I couldn't have said it better myself.